Hey everyone, it's Shane Barrett, and today is going to be the first video on my Big O Tutorials YouTube channel, and the first video of a series, first tutorial video of a series on Final Cut Pro and actually Final Cut Studio, things like Soundtrack Pro and Motion and that kind of stuff. So today in the Final Cut Pro tutorial, I'm going to be covering codecs, specifically the ones that are called Apple ProRes 422, HQ, LT, Proxy, all that stuff. So, you may be wondering what a codec is. Well, a codec stands for encode decode, which basically means nothing, but it does. So, codec is encode decode, and you put it together and it's codec. What it basically means is the way that you compress the video, whether it be MPEG-4, MPEG-2, etc., etc. So, so I'll go over a little bit here. So we're going to go to audio video settings. You can also do, Control Command Q. I actually don't know that, but I do go to it from time to time. So anyway, I'm running in HDV 1080i 60, which is capture preset HDV. That's high definition video cassette tapes. Still very good, but the tutorial we're going over is going to be for Apple ProRes 422, which is AVC HD. So that's hard drive based cameras, hard disk drive, HDD, hard disk drive based cameras. And AVC HD, I'm just going to put it out there, is advanced video, AVC HD, advanced video coding high definition. Just a way to code and make the video. And it's generally H.264 MPEG-4 variant codec. And I'm kind of mixing up my words, but anyway. So you have a lot of options here. So Apple ProRes 422, and 422 is 4.22. It's the way that they compress it, and I'll get to that in a later video. And then HQ. HQ stands for an intermediate. Okay, so here's your options. I'm kind of going all over the place. Intermediate codec. So intermediate codec, 1080i 60, 720p 30. Those are some options. When you hook up your camera, if it's AVC HD, which is hard drive, HDD, hard disk drive based cameras, you'll get all these options. And I'm going to explain what they are here. So Apple Intermediate Codec is like, so ProRes, let's start out with ProRes. I'm kind of skipping all over the place. ProRes HQ is the highest quality. ProRes high quality. And so that's the highest quality. Then you have LT, which is light, and that's lower quality. Then you have Apple Intermediate Codec, which I believe is below that, and then you have Proxy, which Proxy is something different. I wouldn't recommend that. So Intermediate Codec, I think, comes out about 800 megabytes a minute. LT is somewhere around that, and HQ is about 1 gigabyte a minute. Now the reason Apple does this is AVC HD, like I said, compresses to an H.264 MPEG-4 variant, which tends to be very compressed and very hard for computers to read, especially to edit in real time when using HD. So, to get around this, they convert the video, transcoding, through, when you go here, you go to log and transfer, and log and transfer will convert the video to one of these presets, the Apple ProRes, so that's what you want to do. And those files take up generally about 1 gigabyte a minute, so I would warn you and say you need a good hard drive. And to get a fast hard drive too, you might either FireWire 400, FireWire 800, eSATA, Ethernet, RAID, whether it be mirrored or striped, which I'll get to again in a later video. There's a lot to explain. So anyway, what I would recommend for it, I would recommend this right here. The highest quality you're going to get, Apple ProRes 422 HQ, 1920 by 1080, 30p, 48 kilohertz. So 48 kilohertz is 48,000 hertz, which is the audio sampling rate. Again, another video. 30p, I'm going to explain this really quick because it does have something to do with this. 30p is 30 progressive frames, as opposed to 60i, which is 60 interlace frames. How this works is 30p means that you have a picture, right? So frames in a second, there's 30 frames in a second generally, or 25 or 24, or however many you're running. Generally it's 30 for TD, or 29.97. So, as a progressive frame shows the whole frame, each frame. So 30 frames in a second, like 30 pictures in a second. And then interlace, what it does is it takes, fields. So each 1080, 1920 by 1080, so 1080, each second field is going to be interlaced. So what it does is the first frame it shows half the fields on the y-axis, and then the next frame it shows half the fields on the y-axis again, but the other half of the fields, and then it does them frame by frame. So that's why you get that little striped, you get a little bit of striped type things when you actually encode an interlaced. I wouldn't recommend interlaced. That's why it's 60i, because it's essentially 60 half frames equaling 30 frames, but it just looks weird. If you de-interlace, you're essentially losing that quality, so you're actually decreasing the y-axis resolution by half, and there's all these problems. You can blur it out to get rid of it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just say skip it and just do 30p. That's what most cameras are anyway. 60i sometimes good for what do you call it, for fast motion, that kind of thing, but I still wouldn't recommend it. So 30p. If you want something that's lower quality but less megabytes, then you would do Apple Intermediate Codec or LT. There's not a big difference between the two as far as megabytes and that kind of thing, but there is quite a difference between them in quality. So that's why I would recommend here Apple ProRes 422 HQ 30p. And if you're working, usually in the United States it's 30p. There's 30p, and then in other countries it's generally 25p. Sometimes cameras have 24p, but I would recommend 30p because you don't have to do a 2-3-3-2 pull down, which I'll explain in another video. So that's what I would recommend. Now, if you're working with 1280 by 720, which is HQ resolution, it's lower than, it's about half a resolution, a little less of that of HD. Then I would recommend 30p for that, or even 60p if you're working with higher frame rates. But again, not 60i. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wouldn't recommend Proxy. There's also 422, 60p. There's a few other codecs and stuff. 444 is really for alpha channels and kind of like, how would I explain it? Kind of like digital kind of special effects editing with alpha channels and various things like that. That's what 444, 4x4 as they call it, 4x4, Apple ProRes 4x4 is. And most cameras within the, $6,000 or under dollar range aren't 4x4, they're 422, which is the way you compress it. Again, I'll get into that in a later video. It's kind of hard to explain in under a few minutes. I don't know how long this video has been going on for. But stay with me, I'm on my first tutorial video, so I'm not quite used to this. But anyway, so 422 is what you want. So that's how you would do it, and you go to, so you change your sequence preset to that, you do change your capture preset to Apple ProRes 422 HQ, and use the HDB or whatever you want. And then your device preset would be, generally I think you would use a non-controllable device. Yeah, that's what you would use, yeah. So then video playback would be on the Digital Cinema Desktop Preview main and all that stuff. So sequence presets, you would have to set that to the same, whatever you're using, whether it be 1920 by 1080, so you set that to here. See, it has millions of colors, 24-bit, all that stuff. Capture presets, the same, device and AV. Okay, so basically we've gone through how to capture and everything. So what you would actually do, you plug your camera in via USB. You go to the, log and transfer here. And I don't have a camera connected, but then you choose the codec you want and choose the clips you want and convert them. So here's the clip in. You'd add your clips, drag the media in here, and you can also do automatic transfer. You choose your codec, as I said, Apple ProRes 422 HQ 30p 48 kilohertz, and then you'd let it convert. And the good thing about this is you can convert a lot of footage at once. Now it takes about 30% longer than the TRT, which is the total runtime, which means if you have, what's an easy number to do? 10 minutes, it's going to take 13 minutes, or 20 minutes, it's going to take 26 minutes to do. So it's real time plus about 30%, depending on your computer. So if you have a really high-end Mac, then it's going to take a lot less time. Anyway, so I think that's about all that I really needed to cover in this video. Yeah, I'm just doing my beta video here that I put on my YouTube channel. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next Final Cut Pro video tutorial or whatever other video tutorials I do. And thanks for watching. Check out Big O Tutorials, so youtube.com/user/BigOTutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye.